Chapter 724. Yin Chujiu drew the map. Yin Chujiu frowned. That person promised that your Goshawk sect could become a super sect, and you actually believe him? To be honest, that person gave me a pill. After I ate it, I quickly rose from the 2nd level to the 3rd level of the Spirit Emperor realm. That person promised me that if I found the map and gave it to him, he would give me a lot of those pills. With those pills, our Goshawk sect's disciples' cultivation will increase by a large margin. When that time comes, we will be able to rise to prominence. Lu Qian's eyes shone with yearning as he spoke. If you get the map, how will that person contact you? That person said that I don't need to contact him. He will contact me. After Yin Chujiu inquired for a while, she indicated to the Merman that she was done. The Merman waved his hand and Lu Qian fainted once again. Yin Chujiu took out the snow cashmere carpet from her storage ring and cut off a piece of it with a large kitchen knife. After scraping off the cashmere, she took out a brush, dipped it in a cinnabar and drew a map. The Merman looked at Yin Chujiu's actions curiously and said disapprovingly, "Little girl, the map you drew is obviously new. It's impossible to fool others." Yin Chujiu giggled. "Brother Merman, this is only the first step. You won't say that when you see the finished product later." The Merman was skeptical. He saw Yin Chujiu take out spirit wine and rice vinegar and rubbed it on the map. Then she took out a piece of ore, turned it into powder, and started to smoke the map with fire. After Yin Chujiu smoked the map until it was slightly yellow, she washed it again with water. After drying it with her spiritual power, she repeatedly folded it with her hands and dragged it around on the ground. Finally, she burned a corner of it with a flint and nodded in satisfaction before handing the map to the Merman. "Big brother Merman, what do you think?" The Merman took the map and looked at it. He was very surprised. If he did not know that this map was newly drawn by the little girl, he would have thought that it was an old map that had been passed down for many years. "Little girl, I didn't expect you to have such a unique skill. This map looks real. The only flaw is that it's not made from the skin of a poison-antlered antelope. Otherwise, I would have thought that it was passed down from ancient times." Yin Chujiu giggled. "I have many skills. This is just a small trick. Brother Merman, can you set up an illusion for them to think that I helped them turn back into human form and get this map before sending us out?" The Merman nodded. "Yes, I'll cast a spell right away. See you again, little girl." "Big brother Merman, don't worry. I'll send you food again when I have time. You must take care and wait for my good news," Yin Chujiu said with a smile. The Merman saw Yin Chujiu's bright smile, and his heart warmed. He nodded solemnly. "I'll wait for you. Big brother Merman, you have to keep your word. If you misspeak, you'll be a puppy." Although Yin Chujiu's smile was very bright, she sighed in her heart. Big brother Merman was kept going by the hatred of having his entire clan exterminated. That was why he was able to endure such torment day after day. If it was an ordinary person, they would not be able to live for even a day, let alone 10,000 years. The Merman saw a trace of pity in Yin Chujiu's eyes. His nose turned sour, and he hurriedly began to cast a spell. After creating an illusion, he teleported everyone outside the cave. Chapter 725. And Feng, who wanted to report after a while, Lu Qian and the others woke up. When they saw Yin Chujiu standing at the side, they looked confused. They were naturally grateful, but these people were greedy. When they thought of the map in Yin Chujiu's hands, they became restless. Lu Qian's expression changed a few times. "A great man has to be ruthless. Although you saved me, I must get that map for the sake of our Goshawk sect. Thank you for saving my life, young hero. Sure. Please follow me to our Goshawk sect for a few days, and let us host you well." Lu Qian saw Yin Chujiu's high spiritual power in the illusion, and felt that these people in front of him might not have a chance of winning. Therefore, he decided to think of a way to kill Yin Chujiu after he returned to the Goshawk sect to obtain the map. The Merman erased some of their previous memories, so these people still thought that Yin Chujiu was a young boy. Yin Chujiu pretended to decline the invite a couple times. After a few rounds of humility, she smiled and said, "All right, it just so happens that I'm almost done with the trial. Since sect leader Lu is so kind, I'll go and disturb you for a few days." And Feng was a little confused now. He had a feeling that the Yin Chujiu he saw in the underground was not quite the same as what he remembered, but he had clearly seen it with his own eyes. What exactly was going on? Fortunately, Yin Chujiu found an opportunity to tell Feng about what had happened. And Feng finally understood. Young master, what are your plans next? Yin Chujiu smiled slyly. Of course, it's to lure the snake out of its hole. I want to see who is the one who has the red spider lily jade token. And Feng knew that it was useless to persuade her, so he could only act according to the situation. However, the other thing he was thinking about was the naked handsome fish. Miss Jiu called him Brother Merman. He was also very handsome. Should I tell the Honorable Sir or not? Yin Chujiu did not know that Feng was going to secretly report her. She was thinking, since Brother Merman has already established my awesome image, I might as well deepen their impression of me. So she released the 2 earth-shattering ice bears. Lu Qian and the others were shocked. How could 2 Tier 8 earth-shattering ice bears appear out of nowhere? Let me introduce them to you. These are the means of transportation for me and the little madman. Although their levels aren't very high, they're still very useful in the chimeric ice field. Yin Chujiu said with a smile. Lu Ren saw that the 2 earth-shattering ice bears were acting coquettishly like puppies beside Yin Chujiu. He was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell out. Young hero, sure, are these your new spiritual pets? Lu Qian felt lucky that he did not make a move just now. Otherwise, he might not have been able to defeat Yin Chujiu. It was better to return to the Goshawk sect and plan things out. Yin Chujiu blinked her eyes and said, Yes, I'm keeping them for fun. It's also really cool when you take them out. If you like them, you can go and catch 2 of them. It's very easy. Lu Qian and the others were dumbfounded. Are you kidding us? Simple? Simple my asterisk SS. Not only were ice bears hard to catch, they were also violent. Some would rather die than be contracted by a human, let alone 2 of them at once. Yin Chujiu and Feng sat on the back of the bear happily. The 2 earth-shattering ice bears trode forward happily while Lu Qian and the others chased after them bitterly. When they reached the edge of the ice lake, Lu Qian and the others finally reacted. There were scarlet poison frogs in the ice lake, so Lu Qian said, Young hero, sure, let's take a detour. It's said that there are high-level demonic beasts in this lake. Yin Chujiu said with a smile. If you guys are willing to take a detour, then let's do so. Anyway, I'm going through here. Big Bear Bear 2 swim over. Chapter 726. The secret of the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. 2 earth-shattering ice bears jumped into the ice lake. Yin Chujiu and Feng stood on the back of the bear calmly and leisurely crossed the ice lake. Sect leader Lu, there doesn't seem to be the rumored carpet poison frog in the ice lake. Why don't we go there too? Shan Yonghu said. Lu Qian was afraid that Yin Chujiu would leave with the map. So he gritted his teeth and said, All right. Well, go through it too. Lu Qian and the others swam across the lake with fear in their hearts. They only felt relieved when they reached the shore. It seemed that the frog was just a rumor. There was not even a trace of it. After a night's rest, they found the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. Oh my god! It's actually a 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. And it's such a big bunch. Oh my god! How many spirit stones is this worth? We're rich. Lu Qian and the others immediately revealed their greedy looks. They could not find anything in this treasure hunt. If they could dig up the snow Ganoderma and sell it, it would be a considerable income. A few Goshawk sect disciples could not wait to rush forward. Only then did they realize that the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma was protected by a spirit energy barrier. Those few people began to attack the spiritual energy barrier with their spiritual energy, while Shan Yonghu and San Jiaoyan also attacked the spiritual energy barrier together. Yin Chujiu did not go forward. She always felt that the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma was a little strange. So she just stood at a distance and watched. Lu Qian was afraid that Yin Chujiu would take the opportunity to escape, so he also stood at the same place and did not move. An hour later, Shan Yonghu and the others finally broke through the spiritual energy barrier and fought to dig up the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. They did not expect that a puff of poisonous smoke would shoot out from the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. Those few people all fell to the ground and died. Even Shan Yanghu and San Jiaoyan, who were at the level of Spirit Emperor, did not manage to escape. They died just like that. Everyone was so scared that they quickly retreated far away. After the black smoke dissipated, everything returned to its original appearance. However, the corpses on the ground had strangely disappeared. Yin Chujiu's heart stirred. Her brother Merman had once said that there would be the corpses of demonic beasts and humans falling on the round platform every once in a while. So that was how the corpses came about. This 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma was actually bait. It was used to lure food for Big Brother Merman. The person who designed the array formation there was really awesome. Sigh. It seemed that it was not an ordinary task to save Big Brother Merman. The other party was obviously very powerful. Not to mention her, even the gigolo was probably not his match. Lu Qian's entire body was soaked in sweat. If he was not there to monitor the spirit stones, he might have gone to help attack the spiritual energy barrier. He would be dead for sure. The few people around Lu Qian were also extremely fearful. They wanted to preserve their position, so they did not go along with the digging. Otherwise, they would definitely die. Now Lu Qian only had 8 people left. 2 of them were hired Spirit Sovereign Realm Elders, and the remaining 6 people were all from the Goshawk sect. Everyone set off once again. The atmosphere became much more solemn, and they became even more cautious. That night, Yin Chujiu sneakily released the 2 earth-shattering ice bears. Big Bear, Bear 2, am leaving this chimeric ice field. This is the blood coagulation pill that I promised you. We'll meet again in the future. Be careful, and don't be discovered by them. Big Bear and Bear 2 rubbed against Yin Chujiu before disappearing into the night. Their fur and ice field fused into one. And together with the deliberate concealment of their auras, Lu Qian and the others did not notice their departure at all. Chapter 727. Blame me. Early the next morning, Lu Qian noticed that the 2 earth-shattering ice bears had disappeared. He asked in puzzlement. Young hero Sure, where are your 2 earth-shattering ice bears? Sitting on their backs all day is really boring. I plan to stroll around by myself, so I put them into the spirit beast pouch. Yin Chujiu said indifferently. Lu Qian and the others had looks of envy, jealousy, and hatred on their faces. You don't know your fortune when you have it. How we wish we had such a spirit pet that could be used as a transportation tool. The next few days went smoothly. When they encountered the demonic beasts, Yin Chujiu naturally hid behind them and let Lu Qian and the others do the work. Although Lu Qian and the others were dissatisfied, they could not say anything since Yin Chujiu saved their lives. When they arrived at the spirit sapping forest, Lu Qian said in puzzlement, Young hero Sure, I wonder if it was normal when you passed through this spirit sapping forest. When we passed by, these spirit sapping vines turned into this half-dead appearance. It's really strange. Yin Chujiu blinked her eyes. When we passed by, it was also like this. Could it be that these vines aren't like this usually? As soon as Yin Chujiu finished her sentence, those vines began to tremble. That little devil who drank our poison is here again. So scary. This little devil is lying through his teeth. You were clearly the one who sucked all the poison out of our bodies, yet you still pretend to be innocent. It's really too hateful. I really want to beat her to death. Young hero Sure, why are these spirit sapping vines trembling? Could it be that something has happened? Lu Qian was already scared out of his wits and was panicking. It's nothing. I guess they're more excited when they see someone coming. When we passed by here, nothing happened. I even went up the tree to pick wild fruits to eat. Yin Chujiu said with a smile. A Goshawk sect disciple curled his lips. Are you bragging? It's fine if the vines are on the ground. Once they start climbing the tree, they will start absorbing the spiritual power of the people. The light ones would lose their spiritual power, and the heavy ones would lose their lives. How could you dare to go up the tree to pick wild fruits to eat? Yin Chujiu glanced at him. Then she tapped the ground with the tip of her feet, and leaped up a tree with a whoosh, breaking a branch full of red wild fruits. Then she jumped down. See? Nothing happened. There's no such thing as absorbing spiritual power like you said. Lu Qian and the others were dumbfounded. Could it be that this spirit sapping forest really stopped absorbing spiritual power? The disciple who had mocked Yin Chujiu earlier saw that Yin Chujiu was enjoying the sweet fruit and was a little greedy. He imitated Yin Chujiu and jumped onto a tree. Before he could break the branches of the wild fruit, a spirit-sapping vine next to him tied him tightly to the tree. The vine thought to itself, "Damn it. I don't dare to mess with that little devil, and do you think I don't dare to mess with you? I can absorb all of your spiritual power and replenish my power." That disciple was so scared that he cried out, "Sect Master! Help! Help!" Lu Qian was so angry that he gnashed his teeth. "Aren't you just looking for trouble for no reason?" However, they could not just leave him to die. Everyone used their spiritual power to cut off a part of the vine, and finally saved that disciple who already had half his spiritual power absorbed. The disciple glared at Yin Chujiu fiercely. Yin Chujiu spread out her hands and said, "It's not like I asked you to climb the tree. You're the one who's greedy. Are you blaming me?" The disciple was already a little weak after losing half of his spiritual power. After being angered by Yin Chujiu, he choked and fainted. Chapter 728. Spirit Devouring Pill. Sect Leader Lu. These disciples of yours are really too weak in resisting pressure. I didn't say anything, but they actually fainted from anger. TSK, it would be really difficult for them to become great. Yin Chujiu said arrogantly with her hands behind her back. Lu Qian's face was livid. He squeezed out 2 sentences through the gaps of his teeth. Young Hiroshi's words make sense. They really lack experience. After the disciple consumed the pill, he woke up. Just as he was about to say something else, Lu Qian gave him a tight slap on the face. "You disgraceful thing, shut up." The disciple covered his face and did not dare to say anything. However, in his heart he hated Yin Chujiu. "You brat, just you wait. When we reach the Goshawk sect, I'll definitely kill you." The rest of the journey was very smooth. Everyone left the chimeric plains and rode their swords to the Goshawk sect. Yin Chujiu was afraid of being exposed, so she did not use the chopping board. And Feng rode his sword and brought her along with Lu Qian and the others to the Goshawk sect. The Goshawk sect was in Chimeric City and occupied an entire street. When the Goshawk sect heard that the sect leader had returned, they all went to the door to welcome him. Lu Lianxin immediately saw Yin Chujiu, who was beside Lu Qian. She looked at Lu Qian in confusion. "Father, why is this little thief with you? Why didn't you kill him?" Lu Qian snorted in displeasure. "What little thief? This is young Hiroshi, father's savior. Don't be rude." Lu Lianxin was usually very arrogant. When she saw that Lu Qian did not give her face in front of so many people, she stomped her feet and ran back to the manor. Lu Qian said, "Young Hiroshi, please don't take offense. I have spoiled Lianxin so much that she can't be helped anymore. After I have lectured her, I'll ask her to apologize to you." Yin Chujiu smiled indifferently. "It's all right. Sect leader Lu is too polite. It's almost noon. Let's hurry in and have lunch. I'm hungry." The corner of Lu Qian's eyes twitched. "Young Hiroshi, please come in. I'll get someone to prepare the banquet immediately." Lu Qian thought to himself, although Shiling's spiritual power was not low, he's greedy for pleasure. There's no way he can escape from my grasp. After everyone entered the residence, Lu Qian first let everyone wash up, and then set up a sumptuous banquet. However, some of the dishes in the feast included the spirit-devouring pills that he had bought at a high price. The spirit-devouring pills were much more expensive than the scattered spirit pills, but the spirit-devouring pills were colorless and tasteless. Even spirit emperors would find it hard to notice. Yin Chujiu gave Feng a subtle look, and Feng understood. Some of the dishes looked like they had been eaten, but in fact, they had all been stored in his storage ring. He did not swallow them. Yin Chujiu did not have such concerns, and she enjoyed the food very much. "Sect leader Lu, your Goshawk sect's chefs are really good. These braised pork ribs taste better than the ones I ate elsewhere. It's a different kind of taste. Also, these steamed fish and dry fried meatballs are better than the ones cooked anywhere else." Lu Qian was shocked. The dishes that Chuling mentioned were all made with spirit-devouring pills. Could it be that he had discovered them? That was not right. If he discovered them, why was he still eating so happily? Perhaps it was just a coincidence. Yes, It must be a coincidence. After 3 rounds of wine and 5 dishes, the 2 spirit emperor elders that Lu Qian hired said, Sect leader Lu, we've already agreed before that if we find the treasure, we'll split it by head. If we don't find the treasure, you'll pay us 10 million low-grade spirit stones each. Now, it's time for you to fulfill your promise. Lu Qian smiled sinisterly. Spirit stones? Hee, the spirit stones paid, but you have to go underground to get it. Chapter 729. Little Black Lu Qian, what do you mean by this? The 2 old men flew into a rage. What do I mean? Of course I mean to kill you. Do you think I will let you spread the news that I got the map? Only dead people can keep a secret. Lu Qian said gloomily. Lu Qian, you're too arrogant. We're not to be trifled with. No, wait. My spiritual power. What about my spiritual power? You actually poisoned me. Despicable. The 2 old men realized that they had lost more than half of their spiritual power. Lu Qian smiled coldly. Do it. Kill them. The people of the Goshawk sect attacked together. The 2 old men had lost more than half of their spiritual power, so they were no match for them. After 15 minutes, they died. During this time, Chujiu was still eating leisurely, as if these things had nothing to do with her. Seeing this, Lu Qian was a little suspicious. Could it be that the spirit devouring pill had no effect on them? Why were they so calm? Lu Qian was a little hesitant. Should he make a move on Chujiu and Feng? Young hero, sure, sorry for making a fool of myself. I wonder what you think of the taste of this meal? Lu Qian was afraid of Chujiu's spiritual power, so he decided to test it out first. The taste of the meal is very good. This grand banquet is also done very beautifully. Sect leader Lu, I've eaten and drunk the wine. May I rest now? I've been running around these days and am tired. I really want to have a good sleep. Chujiu stretched lazily, she said with a smile. Lu Qian was even more bewildered. Just as he was hesitating, Lu Lianxin and a few disciples pulled out their swords and stabbed at Chujiu and Feng. Brat! You humiliated us in the plains that day, and today I'll kill you. Not only will I kill you, but I'll also skin that flaming fox. Lu Lianxin hated Chujiu to death, coupled with the instigation of the male disciple whose spiritual power had been absorbed by the spirit vine. She could no longer hold back her hatred. Lu Qian's heart moved. It was good to let Lianxin and the others test the waters. It would be best if they were killed. If they were not killed, he would play the good cop, and the situation would be resolved. Therefore, Lu Qian gave a signal to the elders, telling them not to make a move for now and to wait and see. Chujiu's eyes darkened. These idiots are really courting death. If it wasn't for the fact that we wanted to lure out the person with the jade token, I would have killed all of you. Chujiu leaped and dodged the attacks of these people. She easily kicked Lu Lianxin and the others to the ground and then said coldly, Sect leader Lu, is this what you meant by treating me well? Could it be that you also poisoned our dishes? Lu Qian laughed dryly. Young hero, sure. How is that possible? Aren't the 2 of you doing well? You're my savior. How can you be compared to those 2 greedy people? Lianxin, I really spoiled you. Hurry up and apologize to young hero, sure. Father, this brat has humiliated me several times, and you still want me to apologize to him? Lu Lianxin was kicked on the dining table by Chujiu. The soup and water splashed all over her body, making her look very miserable. Bastard! Do you ever heed my words? Men, lock up Lianxin and these bastards. No one is allowed to let them out without my order. Lu Qian said angrily. Father! How dare you treat me like this? I don't want to live anymore. Lu Lianxin was held in the palm of Lu Qian's hand all this time. How could she have suffered such a great grievance? She immediately picked up the sword, and was about to commit suicide. Lu Lianxin was purely trying to scare Lu Qian. She did not want to die at all. However, there was a little black bird in Chujiu's spiritual beast bag. When it heard that Lu Lianxin was going to skin the flaming 3-tailed fox king, it was immediately unhappy. Little Red was now its underling. How dare you bully my underling? I curse you to death. Thus, this fellow began to curse secretly. Then everyone watched as Lu Lianxin staggered and actually committed suicide. Chapter 730. Luring the snake out of its hole. Lu Qian also thought that Lu Lianxin was just scaring him, so he did not pay too much attention to it. Furthermore, the incident happened so suddenly. By the time he regained his senses, Lu Lianxin was already dead. Lianxin, my daughter, my good daughter. Lu Qian, who had just regained his senses, collapsed on the ground and wailed loudly. Yin Chujiu frowned. No matter how she looked at it, she felt that Lu Lianxin's death was a little strange. It was as if she had fallen and hit the blade of the sword. Little Black, did you do this? Little Black rolled its bean-like eyes. Master, I didn't expect her to be so unlucky. I wanted to teach her a lesson, but she died just like that. Retribution. This is retribution. Cut the crap. I'm warning you, if you act on your own next time, I definitely will not let you off easily. Yin Chujiu's head hurt a little. These three silly cubs looked obedient, but each of them was more worrisome than the last. However, compared to the two big shots in her dantian, these three were not bad. Why is my life so bitter? At that moment, the banquet hall was in chaos. Lu Qian's eyes were red. Although he felt that Lu Lianxin's death was a little strange, he had watched Lu Lianxin kill herself. He did not blame himself for the trouble caused by his greed. Instead, he blamed Lu Lianxin's death on Yin Chujiu. If it weren't for you, my daughter wouldn't have died. I would have killed you sooner or later. Lu Qian could really endure it. Although he hated Yin Chujiu in his heart, he said on the surface, Young hero, sure, I'm really sorry that such a thing happened at home. I'll get someone to take you to rest. I'll take care of Lianxin's funeral before I entertain you properly. Yin Chujiu also revealed a pained expression. Sect leader Lu, I'm sorry for your loss. Then I'll rest first. We'll talk more when we have time. Yin Chujiu and Feng went to the guest room. Yin Chujiu had specifically asked for only one guest room. Lu Qian did not have the heart to ask about it, so the servants arranged for the two of them to stay in the same courtyard. Feng took out the isolation array and activated it. He asked, Young master, was what happened to Lu Lianxin really an accident? Yin Chujiu curled her lips. Little Black caused it. I've already warned it. If there's a next time, I won't forgive it. Feng's eyes twitched. I knew it. No matter how I look at it, that Lu Lianxin doesn't look like she was really going to commit suicide. So it's Little Black's doing. Young master, what should we do next? Wait and see. We'll lure the snake out of its hole. I reckon that person has already received the news of Lu Qian's return, and will come to visit soon. Lu Qian won't be able to get the map from me, so that person will probably meet me personally. When the time comes, we'll act according to the situation. Feng nodded, and the two of them took turns to meditate and rest. Although Lu Qian's heart was filled with grief, the ambition in his heart swelled even more. He could not let Lianxin's death be in vain. He had to turn the Goshawk sect into a super large sect. Even if he could not obtain the map from that Chuling, as long as he stalled them, when that person arrived, that person's spiritual power would be superb, and he would definitely be able to kill Chuling. At that time, the credit would still go to him. Just as Lu Qian was about to make further plans, he did not expect that someone would arrive in his bedroom that night. My lord, you're here. Lu Qian was very excited when he saw that the person who had come was the person who had given him the pills. It must have been his Lianxin's spirit in heaven that had protected him. The Goshawk sect's chance to soar to the sky had come. Chapter 731. Hand over the map. Is there a map there? Have you obtained the map? The person asked in a hoarse voice. Sir, there is indeed a map there. Good. Very good. Quickly hand it over to me. The person's tone suddenly rose, clearly very excited. Sir, but that map isn't in my hands now. It has been taken by Chuling, but don't be anxious, sir. That Chuling is in my residence. Lu Qian thought for a moment, and did not ask the person why he sold the map to the stone spirit. He was afraid that if he asked too many questions, he would anger the person. Chuling? Who is Chuling? Why is the map with him? The person asked in puzzlement. Sir, didn't you sell a jade slip to that Chuling? He found the treasure according to the map on it. We were in the main hall, and it was he who saved us. Lu Qian briefly recounted what had happened. That person snorted coldly. Nonsense. When have I ever sold a jade slip? Call that guy over immediately. Lu Qian quickly sent someone to invite Yin Chujiu. A moment later, the servant came back to report, sect leader. Young Hiroshir said that he's very tired. If there's anything, we'll talk about it tomorrow during the day. That person snorted coldly. Lu Qian, you go with me. I want to see who dared to trick us. Lu Qian wished this man could slap Yin Chujiu to death. He and the man immediately went to the courtyard where Yin Chujiu was. The two of them directly barged into the house. Although it was night, the inside of the house was as bright as day. A huge luminous pearl was placed on the table. Yin Chujiu sat calmly on the chair, drinking tea and eating melon seeds. When she saw the two of them come in, she giggled. All of you are here? If you want the map, then sit down and talk. Chuling, why did you make up the lie that I sold you the jade slip? What are your intentions? The masked man looked at Yin Chujiu carefully for a while. Although this kid might have hidden his spiritual power, he did not see anything special. What are my intentions? Of course it's for the spirit stones. Now that the map is in my hands, if you want it, you can buy it with spirit stones. It's that simple. Yin Chujiu took out the map from her storage ring and shook it, then put it away. Don't be arrogant, Chuling. You're now in the territory of our Goshawk sect. If you anger me, you won't have a good ending. Lu Qian's eyes were full of resentment. As long as I get the map, I will make you beg for your life and avenge my Lianxin. I advise you to be more sensible. If you force me into a corner, I will destroy the map. At that time, none of us will be able to get it. Yin Chujiu calmly sipped her tea and said indifferently. The masked man sneered and said, How many spirit stones do you want? I heard that this map is related to a huge treasure. Therefore it's naturally very valuable. 100 million upper-grade spirit stones. 100 million upper-grade spirit stones? You're simply asking for a sky-high price. Lu Qian cursed angrily. The masked man also sneered and said, It seems that you don't have the sincerity to make a deal. In that case, give me your life. The masked man suddenly reached out his hand and slapped Yin Chujiu. Yin Chujiu dodged the man's attack. Hey, if the price is too high, we can discuss it again. It's not a good habit to get physical. Cut the crap. Hand over the map. Otherwise it'll kill you. The masked man slapped Yin Chujiu again. Chapter 732. Who is your master? Kill me. You're dreaming. We might not even be able to kill each other. Yin Chujiu kept dodging and did not attack. The masked man saw that he could not hit Yin Chujiu after a few moves, so he became a little impatient. He shouted at Lu Qian. Lu Qian, what are you standing there for? Hurry up and help. Just as Lu Qian was about to help, he felt a gust of wind behind his head and subconsciously dodged it. He did not expect that there would be another gust of wind in front of him. Just as he dodged it, there was another gust of wind behind his head. Lu Qian kept dodging in a sorry state. Sir. Help. Help. What's going on? The masked man was stunned. Concealment talisman? Just as he was stunned, Yin Chujiu also disappeared. Almost at the same time, Lu Qian screamed and fell to the ground. The masked man was shocked and wanted to rush out of the door. How could Yin Chujiu and Feng let him have his way? She thought that the person behind Lu Qian was very powerful, but she did not expect that he was only at the 4th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. She really overestimated Lu Qian. Yin Chujiu and Feng pincer attacked from the front and back, and they also activated the concealment talisman, so they did not spend much effort to restrain the masked man. After restraining the spiritual power of the masked man, Feng broke the tendons of the man's feet. Only then did he and Yin Chujiu reveal themselves. Feng took off the mask on the man's face, revealing an ordinary face. He took off the jade plate on his waist and looked at it. Sure enough, there was a picture of the lily carved on it. Tell me, who is your master? Yin Chujiu took out a large kitchen knife and rubbed it on the man's face. The man looked at Yin Chujiu with contempt. You want to know about our master? Don't even think about getting any information from me. After saying that, the man intended to bite the poison hidden in his mouth. Unexpectedly, Yin Chujiu touched his body a few times, and he found that he could no longer move. Yin Chujiu took out the poison in his mouth. She sneered. You still want to play this trick with me? I have a lot of ways to make you beg for death. For example, I will cut you 1,000 times, pour honey on you, and let the stone-eating ants bite you bit by bit until you're left with white bones. Then, I will give you a muscle-growing pill. When your skin and flesh grows back, I will cut you a few more times. The man widened his eyes in horror. Yin Chujiu tapped on his acupuncture points a few times, then she used the large kitchen knife to cut his neck. This is the first cut. If you don't say it, I'll continue to cut. Anyway, I have the pills here, so I won't let you die. The man could not take it anymore. If he took the poison and committed suicide, it would only be a moment of pain. The punishment described by Yin Chujiu was really creepy. I'll say it. I'll say it. If you want to talk, then tell us everything you know. If you dare to lie or brush us off, HMPH. Yin Chujiu took the large kitchen knife and slashed the man's neck again. At that moment, the man felt that the young man in front of him was simply a devil that had come out of hell. He said in a trembling voice, "Young hero, I'll talk. I'll talk. Actually, I don't know who the Lord is. 3 years ago, a man wearing a mask came to me and said that he could rapidly increase my spiritual power. He also promised me that if we complete the Lord's great cause, he would lead us to a higher level continent. The spiritual energy there is 100 times richer than our Qingxian continent. It will be a paradise for mankind." Chapter 733. I heard that you have another brother. That person gave me some pills to consume and use to subdue the forces. He asked me to look for information about the Eye of the Earth. I happened to obtain that sheepskin map, and thought that there might be something inside. Thus, I subjugated Lu Qian and wanted him to be a scapegoat to scout the way. If I can find the map or the treasure, I will kill him and take it for myself. If he dies, I'll find someone else. Young hero, that's all I know. I haven't seen that person for 3 years, but he would occasionally ask me about the progress of the matter through the voice transmission talisman. I've told you everything I know. Please spare me. Yin Chujiu's palm landed on the back of the man's neck. Then she said to Feng, what this person said should be true. Let him use the voice transmission talisman to lure the upper line here. Who knows what he might do with the voice transmission talisman? There are only 2 of us, and we're really alone. Feng nodded. Miss Jiu, let's return to the Spirit Radiance sect first and then make a long-term plan. Yin Chujiu thought about it, and could only do so. All right. Well, return to Spirit Radiance sect now. Then what about the mess that is Goshawk sect? In natural selection, the winner is king. Let them fight among themselves. Well, leave now. Yin Chujiu was not in the mood to deal with these trivial matters. She put the man in a sack, and let Feng carry him on her shoulder. Then, she set a fire and took advantage of the chaos to leave the city. After the 2 of them left Chimeric City, they returned to the Spirit Radiance sect on a flying spirit tool. Half a month later, the flying spirit tool arrived at the Spirit Radiance sect. Yin Chujiu brought the man who had taken the sleeping powder to the meeting hall, and told Master Xianyuan everything that had happened. However, when Yin Chujiu told him, she did not mention the Merman. Instead, she told him about the illusion that the Merman had set up. Little Jiu, you should go back and rest. I will gather the other 3 sect leaders, and discuss a safe plan before informing you. Since the matter was of great importance, Master Xianyuan could not make a decision in a hurry. Yin Chujiu nodded and returned to her dormitory. She did not dare to relax for the past few days. Finally, she could have a good rest. Yin Chujiu took a shower and fell asleep. Yin Chujiu slept until the evening. When she woke up, she saw Beiming sitting beside the desk, reading a book. Seeing this, she jumped over from the bed. Prince Charming, I missed you so much. Quickly catch me. Beiming sighed, and stretched out his arm to hold Yin Chujiu in his arms. Nonsense. How crazy are you? Yin Chujiu hugged Beiming's neck and said shamelessly, I like to fool around. Don't you like me like this? Beiming picked Chujiu up and put her back on the bed. He said with a straight face, "I heard that you have another brother?" Chujiu blinked her eyes. "My Prince Charming, did the little madman tell on me? This chatterbox." Little madman? The corner of Beiming's eyes twitched. "Little Jiu, don't change the topic. What's with the merman?" "The merman is so pitiful. He was trapped by 3 10,000-year-old black iron chains for more than 10,000 years. Chujiu told him everything. Of course, she naturally omitted some details that could easily be misunderstood by Beiming, such as how the mermaids multiplied. Chapter 734. The big brother merman was very good-looking. Prince Charming, have you heard of the merfolk? How did they get wiped out? Chujiu's eyes sparkled. Prince Charming, you know everything and are very powerful. When Beiming was looked at by Chujiu's worshipful eyes, his heart immediately softened. The merfolk were indeed wiped out tens of thousands of years ago, but it's said that they lived in the Tianyuan continent. Why? Is one of them imprisoned in the Qingxian continent? Who knows what's going on? The memory of Brother Merman has almost disappeared. Oh right, I even picked up a few of his tears. Brother Merman said that this is the best water-repellent bead. Prince Charming, I will give you the biggest one. Chujiu took out the water-repellent beads, picked the reddest and largest one, and handed it to Beiming. Beiming's heart was touched. Seeing Chujiu give him the reddest and largest water-repellent bead, his heart was filled with sweetness. Although the black thing was not interesting, he was still the number one thing in her heart. He was very gratified. Chujiu saw that Beiming had been coaxed by her, and was very pleased in her heart. Little fellow, you're such a gigolo. Settled you in a minute. Chujiu's stomach started to growl, and her eyes lit up. Prince Charming, the snow rabbit meat on the chimeric ice field is very delicious. I've caught many of them. I will roast them for you to eat later. Beiming's lips curled up slightly. Okay. Chujiu washed up briefly, hopped outside, and began to prepare the roast meat. And Feng was afraid that Chujiu would seek revenge on him. So he hid in a corner and obediently pretended to not exist. Little madman, come over and roast the meat for me. Chujiu glared at him fiercely. The corner of An's eyes twitched violently, and he looked at Feng with a mocking expression. Miss Jiu, didn't we agree? Isn't that just an alias on the chimeric plains? Feng asked with a sad expression. Humph. You snitch. I'll call you crazy from now on. Hurry up and roast the meat. Chujiu puffed her cheeks and said angrily. Feng looked at Beiming, hoping that his esteemed self would speak up for him. Who would have thought that Beiming would like Chujiu so much that he did not even look at Feng? Feng could only start to roast the meat without complaining. He was so regretful that his intestines were turning green. His lord did not even speak up for him. Miss Jiu was full of evil intentions. She might not torture him in the future. After a while, Beiming saw Chujiu enter the house to take something. He whispered to Feng. From today onward, your monthly salary will be doubled. The dark clouds in Feng's mind were instantly swept away. If he was a little crazy, then so be it. For the spirit stones, for the esteemed lord's high regard for him, he would go all out. When Chujiu came out of the house, she saw Feng's smile almost reaching his cheeks. She looked at him suspiciously and asked, Feng, did you think of something happy? Miss Jiu, we returned safely from our experiential learning, and even caught the person with the jade token. Naturally, we should be happy. The rabbit leg is done roasting. You and the esteemed lord can eat it now. Chujiu saw the snow rabbit meat that was sizzling with oil, so she did not ask any more questions. She pulled Beiming to sit on the stone chair and started eating happily. Feng wiped away his cold sweat. It was so close, so close. It was really difficult to carry out intelligence work when he was beside Miss Jiu. One must enjoy life and time. Just like Brother Merman, what's the use of being good-looking? He has been trapped there for tens of thousands of years. Not to mention eating roasted meat. He would be lucky if he did not starve to death. Chujiu said with a sigh. When Beiming heard Chujiu praising the merman's good looks, he felt a little pang in his heart. He asked quietly, Is that piece of mermaid really good looking? Are you exaggerating? Chapter 735. Wisdom is a fool. Every time Beiming mentioned the Merman, he always said it as if it was an object. He wanted Chujiu to understand that it was a demonic beast and not a human. Unfortunately, Chujiu did not pay attention to this. When she saw Beiming questioning her words, she pouted and said, "Prince Charming, don't you believe me? Then I'll draw it for you." Chujiu had almost finished eating, so she took out the drawing paper and quickly started drawing. Not long after, she drew a portrait of a merman. She captured it in both form and spirit, especially the dark and pure look in his eyes, which made people involuntarily feel pity for him. "Prince Charming, do you think Brother Merman is good-looking?" Most importantly, Brother Merman's beauty is the kind of pure beauty that doesn't touch the secular world. It's the kind of beauty that people can't bear to blaspheme. Chujiu pointed at the portrait of the merman on the table and said. Beiming looked at the portrait on the table, and his heart felt a little stifled. Although he was slightly less good-looking than him, he was indeed not bad-looking. Damn it, he was not even wearing clothes on his upper body. He was simply shameless. When he heard Chujiu's praise for the merman, he felt even more frustrated. His eyebrows were knitted together. Pure beauty. He was simply shameless and a pervert who did not wear any clothes. And Feng, who was beside him, took a few steps back without batting an eyelid. "Miss Jiu, what did you mean by even the wisest can have a momentary lapse in judgment? You are acting like a demon right now. This time, you can't blame me. It's all your own doing." Chujiu's IQ would automatically go offline the moment she appeared in front of Beiming. She did not notice Beiming's unsightly expression and continued. "What a pity. If the mermaid women still existed, they would definitely be astonishingly beautiful. However, I've already asked Brother Merman. They can reproduce just like human women. When the mermaids turn into human form, nothing will be delayed." Crack. The stone table shattered into powder. "Black thing. Say that again. You actually talked about reproduction with him?" Beiming shouted angrily with a livid face. Chujiu was dumbfounded. Looking at the furious Beiming, her intelligence finally came back online. She wanted to slap herself. She stammered, "Prince Charming, don't misunderstand. I'm just afraid that the mermaids will be extinct. So I just asked." Beiming looked at her deeply. "You really care about him. You even care about how they reproduce. Black thing. What else are you hiding from me?" Nothing. Really nothing. I just asked how the mermaids reproduce. I said I would help him introduce a girl. Nothing else. Besides, the main reason I asked him that question was because I was more curious. Think about it. How are two fishtails going to hee? Chujiu said as she started to giggle. Beiming was so angry. "You're just a girl. Why are you so concerned about how the mermaids mate? You're really infuriating me." Chujiu laughed recklessly as she said, "Prince Charming, what do you think they would do if one of them turns into a fish while doing it?" Ha ha ha. And Feng and Anin could not bear to look at her anymore. "Miss Jiu, our lord's hair is almost standing on end. You should look after yourself." Chapter 736. Doesn't my body look good enough? When Beiming heard Chujiu's words, he could no longer restrain himself. He picked Chujiu up and walked into the house. Chujiu realized that she was picked up by Beiming again. She shouted angrily, "Put me down. You're making fun of my height." Beiming said coldly, "Black thing, if I don't punish you, you might go overboard. I will teach you a lesson today." Chujiu suddenly remembered that while training in the Wuwei Tower, the gigolo had once slapped her little bottom. That pervert would not want to slap her bottom again, right? "No, I have to think of a way to escape and go to Fifth Sister's place to hide. This stupid mouth. Why does it always spew nonsense whenever it sees the gigolo?" Beiming threw Chujiu onto the bed and propped his hands on the bed. He looked down at Chujiu and said, "Black thing, how do you think I should punish you?" Cough cough. "Prince Charming, I was just curious." "Aren't you curious too?" Chujiu's eyes had a chaotic look as she thought about the possibility of escaping. Humph. I don't have such a perverted hobby as you. Were you going to train or to flirt with that fishy pervert? Prince Charming, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. It was just a coincidence. I was very obedient the entire time. If you don't believe me, you can ask Feng. Besides, if I have any evil intentions, why would I tell Feng about it? Chujiu said pitifully. Hearing Chujiu's words, Beiming's anger subsided a little. He did not expect Chujiu to continue. Besides, Big Brother Merman's hair is so long, I couldn't see anything. Beiming gritted his teeth. Then what else do you want to see? Doesn't my body look good enough? You want to see someone else's despite already seeing mine? Beiming was completely angered by Chujiu. Such unexpected words came out of his mouth, and after he finished speaking, his face immediately turned red. Chujiu's eyes lit up. Prince Charming. You're right. No one looks better than you. Take it off and let me appreciate it. I promise I'll only look at you from now on. Take it off quickly. Take it off quickly. Beiming's face was as red as blood. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Shut up. Write a self-reflection letter. Write it right now. Chujiu pouted. You said it yourself and you're blaming me? I'll write one. It's not like I haven't written it before. Chujiu thought to herself. I'll do it as long as the gigolo doesn't spank my little butt. As for writing a self-reflection letter, it was a piece of cake. Chujiu sat beside the desk and wrote a self-reflection letter very quickly. She smiled cheekily and handed it to Beiming. Prince Charming, this is a fresh self-reflection letter. Please take a look. Beiming glared at her and read the letter. Beiming had no more energy to complain about the number on the self-criticism letter. He directly jumped to the main text and saw that it read, My most handsome, most beloved Prince Charming. In my heart, no man is more handsome than you. No man can replace your position in my heart. Were not for you, I would have died of heartbreak. When Beiming saw this, the anger in his heart subsided a little. No matter what, although the black thing was a little off-key, her feelings for me were genuine. In her heart, no one could compare to him, let alone that fish demon. However, when Beiming saw the rest of the letter, he was so angry that he wanted to slap Chujiu to death. Chapter 737. Madly hurt Beiming saw the following words. Prince Charming, although I love you to the bone, I must muster up the courage to point out your shortcomings today. Although I know you will be unhappy, because I care for you, I must speak my heart. Prince Charming, you are 2 multiplied by 10,000 narrow-minded. When I asked Brother Merman about reproduction, I was asking from the perspective of humanity and science. Do you have to be so stubborn? Besides, you are so stingy. I wanted to see you, but you didn't even let me see you. If you had, would you have lost anything? I was just looking. It doesn't change how I feel for you. Why are you so uptight? Besides, it's not like I haven't seen it before. When Beiming saw this, he didn't want to read the rest of it. He was so angry that he threw Chujiu onto the bed again. Black thing. If it wasn't for the fact that we haven't gotten married yet, do you think I wouldn't let you see it? Of course, if you think that you can see it so easily, then I will immediately fulfill your wish. Beiming was already extremely angry at Chujiu. His eyes were filled with anger as he stared at Chujiu. Prince Charming. I was just joking. Don't take it seriously. Getting angry is unhealthy. Calm down, calm down. Chujiu was a cowardly person who was full of life, heart and guts. She was usually very loud, but when she saw that Beiming was about to make a move, she immediately became tied. You're joking, are you? I'm not. Don't you want to see? I'll let you see it all today. Beiming said as he trapped Chujiu on the spot and started to take off his clothes. Chujiu saw that after Beiming took off his clothes, he actually started to take off his underwear too, and immediately, she started to howl. Prince Charming. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I won't dare to mess around anymore. I'm still young. You can't do such a perverted thing to me. Beiming was so angry that he was amused. A perverted thing? Since you provoked me so much, I'll be a real perverted beast. Yin Chujiu was really scared now. She was so filled with regret that her intestines had turned green. If she knew that the pretty boy would be so angry, she wouldn't have said those words. She cried and said, "Prince Charming, being impulsive is not the way. Please calm down. I was wrong. I promise that I will be obedient in the future. Even if there is a man lying in front of me, I will not even look at him." She secretly added in her heart, if he did not look at him, he should at least look at her twice or thrice, right? Beiming only wanted to scare Yin Chujiu. He would not touch her without her consent. If he could not even do that, what sort of man would he be? However, Beiming felt that he had to teach Yin Chujiu a lesson. Otherwise, if she did as she pleased just because he was not around, wouldn't she be doing that every day? Seeing that Beiming seemed to be serious, Yin Chujiu was so scared that she started to talk without thinking. "Pretty boy, if you want to do that to me today, I won't forgive you. You unreasonable bastard. You narrow-minded pervert." Beiming's anger was once again stoked. "Black thing. Shut up. Shut up. Why should I shut up? You pervert. You bastard." Yin Chujiu's words stopped abruptly. Chapter 738. Useless Yin Chujiu was in a daze. She did not even know that Beiming had released her. A thought flashed through Beiming's mind. Indeed, this was the best way to stop the black thing from spouting nonsense. He would have to use it more in the future. He had finally unlocked the ultimate skill. Beiming pretended to be serious and said, "Black thing, I'm warning you for the last time. If you mess around again." Humph. Yin Chujiu nodded in a daze and rolled to the side of the bed. She hid under the blanket and decided to be a quiet little quail. It was too embarrassing. Beiming left her as she was. He kept Yin Chujiu's self-reflection letter in his storage ring. Then, he put the illuminating pearl on the table into his storage ring and lay outside the bed. Yin Chujiu hid for a long time. When she saw that Beiming had not said anything, she poked her head out from under the covers. She touched her blushed face and cursed in her heart. Wasn't it too much to ask for a kiss just because of a disagreement? She immediately despised herself for being so weak. It's just a kiss. It was not like she had never kissed before. The gigolo was clearly trying to scare me just now, but I actually fell for it. It's too embarrassing. Idiot. Such a good opportunity was wasted. I'm a pig. How did I become an idiot in front of the gigolo? Could it be that the saying that one becomes dumb when they fall in love was true? My IQ has become a negative number. The more Yin Chujiu thought about it, the more unbelievable it sounded. The more she thought about it, the more regretful she became. For now she did not have the guts to do anything. She sighed in her heart, but she quickly adjusted her state of mind. There was still a long time to go. She would find an opportunity sooner or later. What was the rush? As the saying went, what does not kill you makes you stronger. As long as she persevered, she would succeed. After consoling herself, she turned around, wanting to see if Beiming was asleep. Under the moonlight, Beiming was looking at her with a smile that was not a smile. The moonlight made his sharp features look a little more gentle. Yin Chujiu's heart palpitated. It was like seeing the first flower in spring. Her heart instantly felt warm and bloomed. There was only one person left in her heart. Beiming looked at the adorable Yin Chujiu and laughed softly. Little fool. Yin Chujiu's little heart pounded violently. She cursed in her heart. When did the flirting skills of this gigolo suddenly go off the charts? I like this gigolo so much. What's wrong with him? She didn't know how to express her feelings, hence, she hugged Beiming like a koala and said, "Prince Charming, you are good-looking and your cultivation level is high. You are good to me. How can there be such an outstanding person like you in this world? What if I find out that I love you even more?" Beiming felt a warmth in his heart. However, he said calmly, "Okay. Yin Chujiu, what the hell is wrong with you? You are so good at hiding your feelings. Such skill is rare in this world." For a moment, the two of them were silent. They leaned against each other, and only had each other in their hearts. Beiming felt that this was what the book meant when it said that time was peaceful, right? He hoped that time would stop at this moment. Beiming was immersed in the piece when he heard Chujiu say something dirty. The pink bubbles in Beiming's head instantly disappeared. Chapter 739. Lack of sincerity. Chujiu suddenly remembered something. Prince Charming, have you kept the illuminating pearl on the table? Remember to return it to me tomorrow. Beiming snorted coldly. Black thing, would I still be after your things? Chujiu thought to herself, not after my things. You've already taken so many of my spirit stones. However, she did not dare to say it out loud. She laughed dryly and said, my Prince Charming, I'm just reminding you. I don't have any other intentions. Beiming raised his eyebrows and his eyes flashed. Didn't the clothes, handkerchief, and boots I gave you last time get destroyed by lightning? I've found another set for you. Chujiu's face lit up with joy. She widened her eyes and waited for Beiming to bring the items to her. She did not expect Beiming to stop talking at this point. Instead, he closed his eyes and looked drowsy. Chujiu's heart felt like a kitten was scratching it. She shook Beiming's arm and asked, Prince Charming, where are the clothes and boots you mentioned? I'm sleepy. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Beiming said calmly. Chujiu was not willing to give up. She said slyly, Prince Charming, my dear Prince Charming, give it to me now. Otherwise, I won't be able to sleep. Beiming curled his lips but didn't say anything. Chujiu knew that Beiming was taking revenge on her. She wanted to slap herself. Did you owe me anything? Why did he mention the illuminating pearl? She blinked her eyes and said fawningly, Prince Charming, I was wrong. I shouldn't have treated you so badly. Please forgive me. I promise I won't make the same mistake again in the future. Beiming snorted coldly and still didn't say anything. Gigolo. You cold-hearted man. You only know how to take advantage of me. If you are already prepared them, why don't you give them to me? Chujiu rolled her eyes and kissed Beiming on the cheek. Prince Charming, this is my apology gift, please forgive me. Beiming was silent for a while, then said indifferently, not sincere enough. Chujiu was stunned at first, and then a sentence appeared in her mind. The gigolo's a degenerate. The gigolo's a degenerate. The gigolo's a degenerate. However, Beiming had underestimated Chujiu's thick skin. She didn't even care about her reputation, just to get new equipment. She hugged Beiming's face and kissed it. Prince Charming, is my sincerity enough now? Beiming curled his lips and hugged Chujiu. He covered his lips with hers. After a long while he said hoarsely, it's never enough. Chujiu's face turned red. Damn, it was so embarrassing. She did not care about the equipment anymore. She rolled to the side of the bed, crawled under the blanket, and continued to pretend to be a quail. Beiming was very satisfied. With a move of his spiritual sense, a set of equipment appeared on the bed. Little Jiu, do you not like this set of clothes? If you don't like it, I'll keep it. When Chujiu heard Beiming's words, she immediately crawled out from under the blanket and grabbed the new equipment. Who said I didn't like it? She cursed in her heart. These were obtained through my selling my body. If I don't get it, wouldn't I lose a lot? Chujiu did not care that it was late at night. She could not wait to try it on and twirled around. Prince Charming, does it look good? It was a moon-white dress. It was very fresh and elegant. There were dark patterns of the pinelia flower embroidered on it. As Chujiu turned it around, it seemed as if it was dancing. Beiming only had one sentence in his mind. She was graceful as a swan and as elegant as a swimming dragon. Chapter 740. It is enough for me to praise myself. Beiming was a little dazed. When did the black thing become so beautiful? Under the moonlight, Chujiu's skin was as white as jade while seemingly being as smooth as cream. Her pair of bright and lively eyes looked around. Her lips were slightly red and swollen, but they looked sweeter and more alluring. Chujiu saw that Beiming did not react. She leaned on the bed and waved her hand. Prince Charming, do you think that I'm too beautiful and that's why you're speechless? Hee. Beiming's ears were sharp. I just think that this dress is very good looking. As a person, you're just okay. Yin Chujiu pouted. Prince Charming, if you're lying, be careful that your nose will grow longer and longer. I'm a beauty that can topple countries and cities, and I'm as beautiful as a flower. Yet, you went against your conscience and said that it's just okay, HMPH. Beiming subconsciously touched his nose and coughed dryly. Alright, it's getting late. Stop showing off and go to sleep. Yin Chujiu pouted, took off her clothes and climbed onto the bed. Prince Charming, it's a virtue to know how to praise others. I always praise you. Can't you praise me too for once? Beiming was silent for a moment, then said faintly, Little Jiu, I think you don't need to be praised by others. You should praise yourself. Yin Chujiu was stunned for a moment, then she was angry. Prince Charming, what do you mean? Are you saying that I'm always shamelessly boasting? When did I praise myself? Isn't it appropriate to describe me as devastatingly beautiful? Humph. If you're not boasting, then forget it. Why do you have so many excuses? Normally, I don't ask others for anything that I can do on my own. If that's seen as boasting, then it's boasting. I feel that I've perfectly explained what it means to be peerless and magnificent, simply beautiful to the extreme. Beiming, all the positive words that Yin Chujiu knew about women were applied to herself. Then she yawned. Forget it, I'm too outstanding. Words can't even describe it. In short, it's just a sentence. Prince Charming, you've picked up a rare treasure. You're fortunate to have met me. It's a blessing worth 8 lifetimes of cultivation. Beiming stretched out his arm and held Yin Chujiu in his embrace. He said word by word. That's right. It's my greatest fortune to have met you. Yin Chujiu was just showing off when she was suddenly caught off guard by Beiming's words. Her little heart started thumping violently. Damn, this pretty boy's flirting skills were really good. Yin Chujiu was usually very cocky, but at that critical moment, she was silent. She stammered out the words, me too. Beiming curled the corners of his mouth. He felt that the rarely shy black thing was really cute. He wished that he could accompany her at all times. It would be great if she could break through to the peak of the 9th level of the Spirit Emperor realm as soon as possible. Little Jiu, how was your training this time? It was pretty good. However, because I met those people from the Goshawk sect, my training plan was partially hampered. When the matter with the Red Spider Lily Jade token comes to an end, I'm prepared to go out and train. Beiming nodded. The faction behind the Red Spider Lily Jade token has always been hidden behind the scenes. The people who show themselves are just some people who have been bribed by the medicinal pills. Moreover, it seems that they have been planning things for several years. I'm afraid that there won't be any progress in the short term. Yin Chujiu's eyes lit up. Prince Charming, you've just reminded me of something. Tomorrow, I'll let Elder Qi see just what that so-called magical medicinal pill is. Lu Qian described it as having some unique properties. Chapter 741. Pills that could rapidly increase one's spiritual power the next day. Yin Chujiu went to Elder Qi and shared her thoughts. The two of them hit it off and immediately reported it to Master Xianyuan. Master Xianyuan interrogated that person, but that person didn't dare to disobey, and took out a bottle of pills. Elder Qi immediately took the bottle of pills and began to study it. Although some of the ingredients could not be identified, it was certain that this kind of pill could indeed allow one's spiritual power to increase rapidly. However, this kind of rapid increase in spiritual power had a very large flaw, which was that if one's foundation was not stable, and it was very easy for one to go mad. The poison of those people from the League of Assassins, and this pill should be from the same person. Although these pills are evil, I have to say that the person behind them is very proficient in the refining of pills. Elder Qi, then can we start with this pill and find out who those people who were bribed are? Yin Chujiu rolled her eyes and asked. Elder Qi shook his head. Outsiders won't be able to see anything wrong with taking this pill. Luck or talent will suddenly increase one's spiritual power. Hearing Elder Qi's words, Yin Chujiu could only return to the dormitory in disappointment. Yin Chujiu told Beiming what happened. Prince Charming, now we can only hope that we can use the man who was captured to lure out the real culprit. However, I feel that this pill is too perfect. There should be some sort of trail we can follow to the source. Little Jiu, Although the Azure Mystic continent is vast, the people we found connected to the pills so far are all just small fry. Even if you find some traces of the pill, it will be very difficult to pinpoint the source. Beiming said after pondering. Humph. Sooner or later, they will give themselves away. My task now is to cultivate hard, and when the time comes, I will catch them all. Chujiu's ability to regulate her mood was strong. After being depressed for a while, she was enthusiastic once again. The continents have their own rules of Tian Dao. I am not a member of the Azure Mystic continent, so I cannot interfere too much. Otherwise, I would have helped you find out the person pulling the strings. Beiming said with some self-blame. Prince Charming, although the Tian Dao is not very reliable, this rule is still reasonable. If you can interfere in the affairs of the Azure Mystic continent as you wish, wouldn't that be a mess? Natural selection, the survival of the fittest. The people of the Azure Mystic continent had followed those tenets. Sooner or later, they would find out the person behind the scenes. What I can do now is to cultivate well and work hard to become stronger. Chujiu's small face was full of determination. After going through several trials, her Dao heart had become stronger, and she had become more tenacious. Seeing that Chujiu was becoming more sensible, Beiming felt very gratified. With little Jiu's talent, she would soon reach the peak of the 9th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. When that time came, she would be able to ascend to the Tianyuan continent, and they would be able to meet frequently. 3 days later, Beiming returned to the Tianyuan continent when he had things to take care of. Before Beiming left, he repeatedly told Chujiu to cultivate properly and not to get into trouble, or else he would not let her off. Chujiu nodded obediently. Prince Charming, don't worry. I will behave myself and cultivate conscientiously. I will not attract any unwanted attention. After Beiming left, Chujiu cultivated obediently as she said she would. She continued to refine the lightning energy in her dantian. She felt that she was about to break through another level again. At the same time, the leaders of the 4 great sects set up a trap at a place called the 7-Star Slope. They asked the captured man to send a message through a voice transmission talisman, stating that the map had been obtained, and that they would meet at the 7-Star Slope in half a month. Unfortunately, it was unknown whether there was a mole among the 4 great sects or the other party had gotten wind of it. The 4 great sects had waited at the 7-Star Slope for a month, and no one had come to meet them. Chapter 742. Chuling, miss you all very much. The sect leaders were disappointed their trap did not bear any fruit. They could only imprison the captured man, keep him under strict supervision, and make a long-term plan. Chujiu was already mentally prepared for this, so she was not too surprised. What troubled her now was that although her spiritual power had reached the limit of breaking through, she still could not break through to the next level. It seemed that she still had more training to do. Just as Chujiu was worried about where to go to gain more experience, a piece of news shook the entire Qingxian continent. The ancient sword tomb in the endless wilderness actually appeared ahead of schedule. The ancient sword tomb only appeared once every 1,000 years. According to the current cycle of time, it should still be another 100 years before it appeared. Nobody knew why it had appeared ahead of schedule. Although the ancient sword tomb was said to be a sword tomb, in reality, it was considered a treasure vault as well. There were countless ancient spirit tools to be found there, and even the occasional immortal tools. It would stay for around 4 months before the next cycle. Although entering the ancient sword tomb was extremely tempting, only people above the 5th layer of the spirit cultivator realm could do so safely due to the dangers found inside. However, almost all high-level cultivators would still flock to it despite the danger for a chance to find rare spirit tools. The members of the Spirit Flower sect were naturally no exception. When they heard the news of the ancient sword tomb appearing, they all rubbed their hands together and could not wait to go to the sword tomb immediately. However, if everyone rushed to the sword tomb, then the sect would be empty, and it would be easy for others to take advantage of it. Therefore, after discussing with everyone, Master Xianyuan decided they would go there in 2 batches. Each batch would have 2 months, and after the first batch returned, it would be the second batch's turn. After hearing the news, Yin Chujiu hopped to look for Master Xianyuan. Master Xianyuan, I want to go too. Master Xianyuan couldn't help but laugh. Little Jiu, not everyone can enter the sword tomb. Only those above the 5th level of the spirit cultivator realm can. You don't have enough spirit energy, so I'm sorry to say you can't. Yin Chujiu giggled. Then Master Xianyuan saw Yin Chujiu's spirit energy level rise, and finally stop at the 5th level of the spirit cultivator realm. You have already broken through to the 5th level of the spirit realm. Master Xianyuan asked in surprise. Yin Chujiu nodded. Master Xianyuan, I can go now, right? Alright, in that case, let's follow Elder Xiao and the others to the sword tomb first. We must be careful. Master Xianyuan was stunned for a while. Reaching the 5th level of the spirit realm at the age of 16. What kind of abnormal talent was this? The heavenly spirit root was indeed not something that mortals like us could compare to. If he found out that Yin Chujiu had already reached the 1st layer of the spirit emperor realm, he would have probably fainted from shock. The next morning, the people of the spirit flower sect set off for the endless wilderness. And Feng was still tasked with protecting Yin Chujiu, so he also followed the spirit flower sect's flying spirit tool. The spirit flower sect was about half a month away from the endless wilderness. Yin Chujiu had a very comfortable life on the flying ship, because Feng Ming, Shi Xian, and Gung Yi were also amongst the first group of people to go to the ancient sword tomb. Feng Ming was now at the 6th level of the spirit cultivator realm, while Shi Xian and Gung Yi were at the 5th level of the spirit cultivator realm. The 4 of them gathered together and played cards together as usual. After half a month, they finally arrived at the endless wilderness. The endless wilderness was a no-fly zone, so everyone had to get off their flying spirit tools and walk toward the ancient sword tomb. As soon as they got off their flying tools, they saw a man in red standing in front of them. He greeted everyone in a flashy manner. Everyone, long time no see. I, Yin Chuling, miss you all very much. Chapter 743. Big brother is good enough, right? The corner of Yin Chujiu's eyes twitched violently. After not seeing him for a few months, Black Chicken Head was still as coquettish as ever. Little sister Jiu, to take revenge on me. That facial paralysis gave me a lot of trouble and made it impossible for me to escape. Fortunately, Big Brother's ability is extraordinary, and I finally took care of everything. As soon as I finished my business, I immediately came to see you. Shui Wuji came to Yin Chujiu's side and said eagerly, Brother Wuji, do you want to go to the ancient sword tomb with us? Yin Chujiu was not stupid. Even if Shui Wuji wanted to see her, he would not have come to the endless wilderness just to find her. Little sister Jiu, your words hurt my heart. I came all the way here, and you are so suspicious of my longing for you? Shui Wuji looked hurt. Yin Chujiu touched her nose. This black chicken was definitely up to something. Brother Wuji, I'm sorry. Since I've misunderstood you, I'll give you something to make up for it. Yin Chujiu took out a transparent water repellent bead from her storage ring and handed it to Shui Wuji. Yo, this is a pure water repellent bead. Little sister Jiu, where did you get it? Shui Wuji asked excitedly. He was not excited because of how valuable the water repellent bead was, but because Yin Chujiu thought so highly of him. I got it by chance, just keep it well. Brother Wuji, let's talk as we walk. Elder Chu and the others are a little anxious from waiting. Okay. Brother will accompany you to that ancient sword tomb to see what the fuss is about. I can also protect you well. Shui Wuji's narrow eyes flashed with a faint light. Yin Chujiu cursed in her heart, saying that he did not have other motives. Could it be that this black chicken brain also wanted to obtain an immortal weapon? However, although immortal weapons were rare, it shouldn't be a big deal to him. Why would he want to go to the ancient sword tomb anyway? After Yin Chujiu and Shui Wuji returned to the team, the people of the Spirit Flower sect began to enter the endless wilderness. Secret Agent Huahua could not bear to look at her young master's fawning look. She originally thought that she had already let it go after not coming to the Azure Mystic continent for a few months. She did not expect that she would still look like a useless person the moment she saw Yin Chujiu. Secret Protector Huahua consciously got together with Feng. The two of them could be considered old acquaintances. After greeting each other, she followed behind Yin Chujiu and Xue Wuji. Little sister Jiu, when I saw your wretched appearance, I gave Beiming a good beating. I also threatened him. If he dares to marry someone else, I will strangle him to death. Aren't I worthy of your attention now? Xue Wuji obsequiously claimed credit. Thank you, big brother Wuji. I will give you a fruit to eat. Yin Chujiu handed a spiritual fruit to Xue Wuji with a smile. Xue Wuji took the fruit with a smile on his face. Little sister Jiu is so good to me. Little sister Jiu, I heard that Beiming's mother has seen you? She didn't make things difficult for you, did she? Xue Wuji didn't want to eat it but put the spiritual fruit into his storage ring. It's all right. She even gave me a cashmere blanket. Yin Chujiu felt that she couldn't expose her family's dirty laundry, so she made light of things. Xue Wuji's eyes flickered. Little sister Jiu, are you lying to me? Beiming's mother has helped Beiming find many potential girls. You appeared in his life from out of nowhere, and you're from the Azure Mystic Continent. How can she not have any complaints about that? Yin Chujiu was about to speak when she heard someone behind her laugh coldly. Xue Wuji, do you think that I am too kind to you? Do you still want to work for a few more months? Chapter 744. Heartbroken. When Yin Chujiu turned around, Beiming walked over slowly in a white robe. She cursed in her heart. Fuck. Some people were just unusually charismatic. Just a few casual steps from the pretty boy made everyone fawn at him. Xue Wuji was stunned at first. Then he curled his lips. Beiming, your habit of eavesdropping is not very good. Besides, am I wrong? Your mother has indeed helped you find a lot of girls, such as Qin Mingzhu from Gui Yuan sect, Bailey Yan from Medicine Valley, Yin Xinlian from the Yin family. Beiming saw Yin Chujiu glaring at him fiercely and immediately shouted at Xue Wuji. Shut up. If you don't speak, no one will realize your lack of intelligence. Little sister Jiu, look at this facial paralysis. He is angry from embarrassment. This means that what I said is true. The 3 people I mentioned have been in love with this facial paralysis for a long time. Not only do they have good looks, but their spiritual power is also passable. Most importantly, their family background is very good. I heard that the palace mistress thinks highly of them. You have to be careful. Xue Wuji continued to add fuel to the fire. Beiming's face turned ashen. Little Jiu, don't listen to his nonsense. Yin Chujiu was slightly unhappy. Although some things could be logically understood, it was inevitable that she felt a little uncomfortable emotionally. Prince Charming, let's leave quickly. Elder Chu and the others will be anxious again soon. Beiming saw Yin Chujiu's expression and knew that she was unhappy. He glared at Xue Wuji fiercely. Xue Wuji curled his lips fearlessly. Beiming, why are you glaring at me? Little Jiu, look, just because I told the truth, this expressionless man is taking revenge on me. You have to stand up for me. Yin Chujiu glanced at him. Brother Wuji, didn't you beat up Prince Charming last time? You two can fight again. I'll be your judge. Xue Wuji was stunned, and then he said with a bitter face, Little sister Jiu, you're so cruel. Your brother's heart is about to be broken. Xue Wuji, shut up. If you keep talking, I'll make it so you won't be able to enter the ancient sword tomb. Beiming said coldly. Xue Wuji's eyes flickered and he said embarrassedly, If you want to shut up, then shut up. It just so happens that I'm a little thirsty. I'm going to eat the spirit's fruit little sister Jiu gave me to quench my thirst. Secret Agent Huahua looked at Xue Wuji, who was acting like a demon, and the sadness in her heart flowed like a river. Young master, have you forgotten what you're here for? Why do you keep provoking Beiming for no reason? Morally, you're the third party who interfered. In terms of strength, you can't beat Beiming. Aren't you just looking for trouble? Xue Wuji smacked his lips as he ate. The spirit fruit little sister Jiu gave me is really sweet. This is the best spirit fruit I've ever eaten. Beiming glanced at him and said indifferently, That's the spirit fruit I gave little Jiu a long time ago. Little Jiu said that this kind of spirit fruit doesn't taste very good, and she dislikes it the most. Yin Chujiu laughed dryly and said, Brother Wuji, I just took it casually, I didn't mean it. I'll give you this rosy fog fruit. This is my favorite. Without waiting for Shui Wuji to take it, Beiming reached out and snatched the rosy fog fruit. It just so happens that I'm also a little thirsty. Didn't Shui Wuji say that the fruit was delicious? He can just eat that. Shui Wuji instantly felt that the spirit fruit in his mouth was a little bland and tasteless. His heart felt as if it had been soaked in vinegar, and he felt heartbroken. Chapter 745. Furry wants some poison silk. Yin Chujiu saw Shui Wuji's desolate look and could not bear it. She took out another rosy fog fruit and gave it to Shui Wuji. Brother Wuji, you can keep it for later. Beiming glanced at Shui Wuji and held back from snatching the fruit. Does he want to snatch little Jiu from me? Dream on. Shui Wuji's ability to move on was very strong. In a short while he recovered his composure. He continued to explain the situation in the endless wilderness to Yin Chujiu. Little sister Jiu, as the name suggests, the endless wilderness is quite big. Moreover, the wilderness is also very dangerous. The lowliest demonic beasts there are at least rank 8. There are even some as strong as rank 12 there. Other than these dangerous demon beasts, it is also covered with swamps. Add to that the restriction on flying. Once you are trapped in the swamps, it will be very troublesome. However, little sister Jiu, don't worry. With Big Brother here, I will guarantee that you will arrive safely at the ancient sword tomb. Big Brother Wuji, unless it is necessary, you don't have to fight. This place is so dangerous. It is just the right time for me to train and gain some actual combat experience. Yin Chujiu could not break through for a long time. Now, she could not wait to meet some high-level demon beasts and challenge herself. Shui Wuji smiled brightly. Little sister Jiu, you work too hard. I'm really proud of you. Yin Chujiu giggled. Brother Wuji, you really know how to sweet talk. Beiming clenched and loosened the fist in his sleeve. He clenched it again, wishing that he could slap Shui Wuji away. He clenched his teeth and squeezed between Yin Chujiu and Shui Wuji. Little Jiu, don't talk so much. Pay attention. You're here to gain experience, not to listen to someone spouting nonsense. Just as Shui Wuji was about to retort, he saw a commotion among the people in front of him. There were less than 100 people from the Spirit Flower sect. A third of them were at the level of Spirit Emperor, and the rest were at the level of Spirit Cultivator. What caused the commotion was the group of 30 to 40 level 10 venomous giant man-faced spiders in their way. A level 10 demon beast was equivalent to a level 3 Spirit Emperor. Although the people from the Spirit Flower sect had the advantage in terms of strength, the venomous giant man-faced spiders could shoot out poisonous threads. Not only could those poisonous threads trap people, but if they stuck to the exposed skin, the victim would be poisoned to death. Furry was almost going crazy with joy. Master, I want poisonous silk. I want poisonous silk. I want poisonous silk. If you want the poisonous silk, shut up. Yin Chujiu felt that her spiritual sense was about to be overloaded by that ball of yarn, and she couldn't bear it anymore. Seeing that Yin Chujiu was angry, Furry finally stopped and whispered, Master, the silk produced by that venomous giant man-faced spider is a good thing. You must get as much as you can. It's now or never. Yin Chujiu agreed, but she was a little uncertain. The giant spider was equivalent to a third-level Spirit Emperor, and it could use poisonous silk. It would be good enough if she could kill one, but if she really couldn't, she would buy a few corpses of the giant spider from Elder Xiao and the others when they returned home. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, let's go to the front and take a look. Yin Chujiu said to Beiming and Shui Wuji. Beiming saw that Yin Chujiu placed him in front of Shui Wuji, and the anger in his heart dissipated a little. I will always be the first in Black Thing's heart. No one can replace my position in Black Thing's heart. Chapter 746. A good way to quickly collect poisonous silk. Yin Chujiu and the other two came to the front and saw a group of venomous giant man-faced spiders staring at them. It was Yin Chujiu's first time seeing a venomous giant man-faced spider. This kind of demon beast was not very likable. Its huge head looked like a human face, and its abdomen was covered with gold patterns. Its claws were as thick as an adult's thigh. There were few cultivators in the endless wilderness. Although these venomous giant man-faced spiders were wary of the feast before them, they were reluctant to give it up. Seeing that these venomous giant man-faced spiders had no intention of retreating, Elder Xiao shouted to the crowd, "Divide into 36 groups. Each group will have 1 elder and 2 disciples. Each group will deal with 1 spider. Attack." Although Elder Xiao's distribution was relatively reasonable, the spiritual power of each elder differed. Some elders were only at the first level of the spiritual emperor realm, and even with 2 spirit cultivator disciples, they were still in a bit of a pickle. The poisonous silk sprayed by the giant poisonous spiders was especially very difficult to deal with. It was impossible to cut it with a sword or a knife. Only fire could burn through it. Moreover, one had to avoid letting it touch the face and hands, otherwise they would be poisoned immediately. Therefore, while some teams had the upper hand, some teams were not a match for it. Chujiu happened to be the extra one. She was not on any team. Seeing that Feng Ming's team was in a bit of a bind, she quickly joined in. "Hey, you shameless 8-legged monster. If you can come and eat me." The giant spider was very intelligent. Naturally, it understood that Chujiu was taunting it. It angrily spat out a bunch of poisonous silk at Chujiu. Chujiu dodged it, and waved both of her hands at the same time. 2 purple bolts of lightning struck the most vulnerable part of its body of the venomous giant man-faced spider, which was its face. The venomous giant man-faced spider did not expect that the little human girl in front of it would be able to use the heavenly lightning. It was momentarily stunned. It was not as agile as other demon beasts. Although it tried its best to dodge being hit in the face, it was still struck on its back by one of the heavenly lightning bolts. Although the flesh of the venomous giant man-faced spider was very strong, it was still struck by Chujiu with all her strength. It let out a miserable cry. Feng Ming and the other 2 would not let go of such a good opportunity. They concentrated their spiritual power to attack the face of the venomous giant man-faced spider. The venomous giant man-faced spider was enraged. It once again shot a bunch of poisonous silk at Chujiu. This bunch of poisonous silk was thicker than the previous one. It seemed that it wanted to kill Chujiu. Chujiu had even killed a level 12 scarlet poison frog before, so she felt that this was nothing. With a nimble leap, she dodged the poisonous silk from the venomous giant man-faced spider. Chujiu snorted coldly in her heart. If it were not for the fact that she did not want Furry to be discovered by everyone, she would make the 8-legged monsters kneel and beg for mercy. With the addition of Chujiu, Feng Ming's group quickly ended the battle. Chujiu shamelessly put the venomous giant man-faced spider's corpse into the great void mystic realm. Furry then quickly pulled out all the poisonous silk inside. "Don't worry, we'll talk about splitting it up later. I won't cheat you guys," Chujiu said with a smile. Feng Ming and the other 2 naturally had no objections. The most important thing now was to get rid of the giant spider. As for splitting up the loot, they would talk about it later. Chujiu found a good way to quickly collect the poisonous threads. When she saw that the group was no match for her, she ran over to help. After the battle was over, she did the same thing and put away the giant spider's corpse. Then, she promised to share the loot and rushed to the next group. Beiming and Shui Wuji saw Chujiu jumping around like a hard-working bee. There were bolts of lightning here and there, and at the same time, she kept collecting the corpses of giant spiders into her storage ring. Chapter 747. Why was she so generous today? The Spirit Flower sect gradually gained the upper hand. Seeing that the situation was not looking good for them, the venomous giant man-faced spiders fled in a panic. Although no disciples of the Spirit Flower sect were poisoned or bitten to death, there were still a few disciples and elders whose exposed skin had been stained by the poisonous threads. Fortunately, only a few were affected and treatment was promptly given, so there were no serious injuries. Chujiu took out the giant spider corpses that had been stored in her storage ring, then said to Feng Ming and the others, "Come on. We can distribute these corpses now. I didn't put in much effort, so you guys can distribute them first. Just leave me something as appreciation." Everyone simply could not believe their ears. Did the sun rise from the west? Chujiu was usually greedy, but why was she so generous today? They did not know that Chujiu had secretly let Furry extract a lot of poisonous silk, so they naturally did not care about how much they got. Seeing that Chujiu did not seem to be lying, everyone began to distribute the corpses of the venomous giant man-faced spiders. After all, they were 10th level demon beasts, so they were still worth some spirit stones. The elders naturally would not be greedy for such a small benefit. They all expressed that they would just let the corpses be distributed among the disciples. The spider corpses were distributed evenly, and everyone continued to move forward. Chujiu managed to advantage of the situation successfully, and was in a very good mood. She hopped back to Beiming's side. Shui Wuji praised. Little sister Jiu, I haven't seen you for a long time. Your movement techniques have become more agile. Chujiu giggled. Brother Wuji, I haven't used my full strength yet. I will surprise you even more when I meet a demonic beast later. Shui Wuji laughed. Little sister Jiu, I will wait and see then. Beiming felt that Shui Wuji was like a noisy crow. He wished that he could kill him with a slap. Black thing, the worst thing to do in cultivation is to be impetuous and arrogant. Don't be too arrogant. Chujiu immediately became listless. She puffed up her cheeks and pouted. Got it. Shui Wuji pursed his lips in his heart. Beiming had a poker face. He would not please little sister Jiu at all. With such a straight face all the time, he looked like someone owed him a lot of money. Sooner or later, little sister Jiu would get tired of him. They encountered a few more groups of demonic beasts along the way, but the Spirit Flower faction had the advantage in numbers, so they dealt with them smoothly. When the sky turned dark, Elder Xiao said to everyone, set up camp here. Well, rest for the night. We'll set off at daybreak tomorrow. Chujiu naturally would enjoy her rest. After eating, she took out her all-purpose small tent. The floor was covered with the palace mistress' snow cashmere carpet, and she lay down on it happily. Although Beiming wanted to lie down and hug Chujiu to sleep, under everyone's watchful eyes, he was too embarrassed to go in. Thus, he sat in front of Chujiu's tent and meditated to rest. Shui Wuji also found an empty space to meditate and rest. The next day, the sky had just brightened. After breakfast, everyone continued to move forward. The swamp area is ahead. Everyone must be careful. Elder Xiao said solemnly in front. Everyone did not dare to be careless. The swamp was not a joke. Once they were trapped, even if others wanted to save them, they might not be able to escape. Moreover, there were swamp crocodiles and other demonic beasts in the swamp area. Elder Xiao gave everyone a demonstration at the front. They had to move quickly in the swamp. Before their bodies sank, they had to jump onto some exposed grass. Moreover, they had to be wary of the swamp demonic beasts that would appear from time to time. Chapter 748. You have not married her yet. As the grassy area that they could rest on was very small, Elder Xiao asked everyone to split up slightly across the swamp to avoid unnecessary trouble due to overcrowding. Chujiu was very confident in her heart. No matter how big the trouble was, it would not be dangerous for her as long as she had the gigolo and that black chicken head by her side. Therefore, this fellow completely treated crossing the swamp a dangerous endeavor, as a hopscotch game, jumping around happily. Just as this fellow was feeling happy, she heard a miserable cry coming from the front. She saw a disciple being dragged into the swamp by a huge swamp crocodile. The elders beside him did nor have time to save him at all. By the time they reacted, that disciple had already disappeared. Everyone had not realized the dangers of the swamp at first. When they saw this scene, they could not help but feel a little nervous, and became even more cautious. As the swamp went deeper, more and more swamp demon beasts began to appear, and attack the people of the Spirit Radiance sect. The elders with high spiritual power were better off. Besides having spiritual power to protect their bodies, they could also divert their energy to attack those demon beasts. However, the disciples with lower spiritual power were in a bit of a mess, and the screams of the disciples could be heard from time to time. Chujiu could not help but sigh. The path of cultivation was full of dangers. In order to find opportunities, she could only put herself in danger. Just as she was sighing, a swamp crocodile suddenly jumped up from the swamp and onto the grassland where she was. It opened its bloody mouth and bit at her calf. It actually dares to bite me. Little Jiu thunderbolt. Yin Chujiu dodged while waving her right hand. A bolt of lightning went straight for the swamp crocodile's head. As expected, the swamp crocodile was somewhat dumbfounded. Heavenly purple lightning? How can a human use purple heavenly lightning? The swamp crocodile was stunned and did not dodge the heavenly lightning in time. Although it managed to avoid getting stuck on its head, its back was struck by the heavenly lightning. The swamp crocodile roared angrily out of embarrassment. Shui Wuji shouted from behind. Little sister Jiu, be careful. Another one climbed up from that side. Yin Chujiu turned her head and sure enough, another swamp crocodile climbed up from the other side of the grassland. Two swamp crocodiles surrounded Yin Chujiu in the middle. Shui Wuji saw this and wanted to jump over to help. Beiming glared at him. Little sister Jiu wants to gain experience. Don't cause trouble. Beiming, are you out of your mind? The swamp crocodile is a tier 9 demonic beast, and there are two of them. Little sister Jiu can't deal with it at all. Are we just going to sit back and watch little sister Jiu be in danger? Shui Wuji said angrily. How do you know that little sister Jiu can't handle them? Even if there is danger, I don't need you. I will protect my own woman. Beiming said coldly. Pfft. What do you mean by your woman? You haven't married her yet. Little sister Jiu might not even be anyone's wife. Shui Wuji, do you still want to be busy for half a year? If anything happens to little sister Jiu, I won't let you off. Shui Wuji said with a fierce look but a weak heart. Damn it. This half a year almost made me vomit blood. Damn facial paralysis. Sooner or later, I'll show you how powerful I am. Shui Wuji looked at Yin Chujiu in embarrassment. He saw Yin Chujiu moving around and continuously striking at the two swamp crocodiles with lightning. The swamp crocodile's skin and flesh were very tough. Although the lightning struck them, it would cause them pain for a while but not any fatal damage. The two swamp crocodiles were very agitated. They thought that they could easily swallow this little girl. They did not expect that they could not hurt her after such a long time. It was really detestable. Yin Chujiu saw that the two swamp crocodiles were becoming more and more agitated. Their bodies had already climbed onto the grass. Her eyes deepened. It was almost time to play. It was time for game over. Chapter 749. Swamp Mud Dragon. Yin Chujiu's previous lightning strikes were chaotic. Some struck the head, some struck the back, and some struck the tail. All of a sudden, she struck all of her lightning at the swamp crocodile's eyes. Yin Chujiu had long known that its weakness was its eyes. Previously, she had deliberately struck randomly to confuse them and provoke them to climb onto the grass. This way, she could prevent them from sneaking into the swamp to escape. The swamp crocodiles did not expect that Yin Chujiu would suddenly attack their eyes. Their movements were not that fast, and they were in a state of frenzy. After being hit by Yin Chujiu, the two swamp crocodiles roared in pain and rolled on the grass. Yin Chujiu aimed at their weak abdomen and shot out several lightning bolts. After rolling for a while, the two swamp crocodiles finally fell to the ground and stopped moving. Yin Chujiu kept the corpses of the two swamp crocodiles and continued hopping forward. It was impossible to tell that they had just experienced a fierce battle. As Yin Chujiu and the others were behind the team, no one except Beiming and Shui Wuji saw this scene. Otherwise, they would definitely be shocked. Yin Chujiu was clearly a 5th-level spirit cultivator. How could she kill two tier 9 swamp crocodiles by herself? Shui Wuji's mouth was wide open as he muttered to himself. How is this possible? Why is little sister Jiu so fierce? She killed two swamp crocodiles by herself? Beiming could not be bothered with him. He continued to walk forward to protect Yin Chujiu's safety at all times. Along the way, Yin Chujiu kept walking and stopping. If she was on the grass, she would fight with the swamp crocodiles. If she was in the midst of walking, she would try to use her spiritual energy barrier to prevent the swamp crocodiles from biting her. Just when Yin Chujiu thought that the swamp was nothing, the mud in front of her started to churn violently. A huge swamp mud dragon shot out a few poisonous arrows at Yin Chujiu. Although Yin Chujiu dodged the poisonous arrows, The mud splashed around by the dragon sprayed all over her face. Shui Wuji cried out in fear. Little sister Jiu. Beiming also frowned, but when he thought of Yin Chujia's special physique, he was not so worried. Fuck. Fuck you. You even messed up my hair. You stinky bug. I'll strike you to death. Yin Chujiu landed on a piece of grass nearby, and struck out several thunderbolts at the swamp mud dragon. Although it was surprised to see Yin Chujiu being able to use the purple heavenly lightning, it was a tier 12 demonic beast, and did not bother with Yin Chujiu. Let alone a mere level 5 spiritual master. Even a 6th level spirit emperor cultivator isn't my match in this swamp. I am the king of this swamp. The swamp mud dragon looked at Yin Chujiu with disdain, and shot a few more poisonous arrows at her. Yin Chujiu dodged while taking out the rolling pin to hit the poisonous arrows. Yin Chujiu waved the rolling pin in her right hand to hit the poisonous arrows that were coming at her, while her left hand struck the lightning toward the swamp mud dragon's eyes. This time, Yin Chujiu did not use the same tactic as before. The swamp mud dragon was too powerful, and she had to finish it quickly. The swamp mud dragon did not expect that a weak little girl would be so difficult to deal with. However, she was no match for this dragon. It just took some time. Not only was the swamp mud dragon's spiritual power much higher than Yin Chujiu's, but it also had the geographical advantage. After 15 minutes, it had the upper hand. Yin Chujiu could not hold on any longer. Now was not the time to show off. Yin Chujiu shouted to Beiming behind her. Prince Charming, if you don't help, your wife will die. Chapter 750. Beiming's root spirit. Before Yin Chujiu could finish her sentence, Beiming had already jumped over. Before he arrived, an ice dragon had already pounced on the swamp mud dragon. Yin Chujiu was dumbfounded. This was the first time she saw Beiming using his spirit energy to attack. In the past, he would just wave his sleeves and deal with it. She had never seen him using his spirit energy to attack. Turns out the gigolo had an ice root spirit. However, the ice root spirit should be an ice arrow, right? How could the gigolo produce such an awesome ice dragon instead? Oh boy, when she had time. She must ask the gigolo how brilliant it would be when she used her thunder spirit power to transform into a phoenix. When the swamp mud dragon saw the ice dragon pouncing on it, it felt fear in its heart. It wanted to shrink back into the swamp, but it did not expect the ice dragon to turn around and bite its eye. Where would the swamp mud dragon have ever seen a spiritual attack that could turn around? It was stunned for a moment. How could Yin Chujiu let go of such a good opportunity? A few bolts of lightning struck toward the swamp mud dragon's eyes. In order to avoid the ice dragon, the swamp mud dragon had no choice but to take a lightning strike from Yin Chujiu. It cried out in pain and dived into the swamp. Beiming transformed into an ice dragon again. The ice dragon actually dived into the swamp. The swamp churned, and a moment later, the corpse of the swamp mud dragon floated up. The ice dragon also turned into a wisp of spiritual energy and disappeared. Beiming came to Yin Chujiu's side at that time. Are you alright? Yin Chujiu's eyes sparkled. Prince Charming, you were so cool just now. So cool. It's simply incomparable. Beiming smiled faintly. We'll talk later. We'll talk after we get out of this swamp. Shui Wuji pursed his lips behind him. HMPH, what's so great about that? Isn't he just acting cool? I know how to do that too. If there's a chance, I'll let little sister Jiu see my spiritual power. 2 hours later, the people of the Spirit Radiance sect finally passed through the swamp. After counting the number of people, there were actually 12 disciples who lost their lives in the swamp. There was no time for them to be sentimental, so they hurriedly continued their journey to avoid wasting the precious time searching for the ancient sword tomb. Yin Chujiu simply took a handkerchief to wipe the mud on her face, and then impatiently asked Beiming, Prince Charming, why is your spiritual power an ice dragon? Quickly teach me, I want to make a phoenix as well. We can be a pair. Shui Wuji came over from the side. Little sister Jiu, don't let some people deceive you. Actually, this is just a spiritual power illusion. When you reach the Spirit Emperor realm, you can do it too. It's just that the object that you just transformed into is relatively simple. Brother Wuji, then what can you transform into? Yin Chujiu asked curiously. Little sister Jiu, that dragon thing is just SOSO. I can transform into a huge skull. It's very awesome. Shui Wuji said proudly. After Shui Wuji said that, he raised his hand and attacked a nearby bush with a huge skull. The huge skull was like a hurricane, and the bush was instantly turned into powder. How was that, little sister Jiu? My skull is awesome, right? Yin Chujiu nodded. Although it's a little inferior to Prince Charming's ice dragon, it's still quite powerful. Big brother Wuji, do you have the wind root spirit? Hearing Yin Chujiu's words, the corners of Beiming's mouth curled up. Shui Wuji, you still want to compete with me? You're simply asking for humiliation. Shui Wuji said unwillingly. That's right, I have the wind root spirit. Little sister Jiu, you'll find that my skull is much more powerful than the ice dragon in the future. Just as Yin Chujiu was about to speak, she heard a cheer from the front. We've arrived at the ancient sword tomb. Chapter 751. If you don't leave, I want to abandon you. Yin Chujiu raised her head and saw that there were indeed many people gathered in the distance. They should be cultivators who arrived earlier. Everyone quickened their steps. Yin Chujiu finally saw the so-called ancient sword tomb. A huge barrier appeared in front of everyone. Ancient runes flickered on it, and a prehistoric aura rushed toward them. Yin Chujiu was a little confused. It seemed like no one had entered yet. Could it be that this thing had not been opened yet? Senior brother Feng, why isn't anyone going in? Could it be that it's not time yet? Yin Chujiu asked Feng, who was standing in front. That's right. Every time the ancient sword tomb appears, it will only officially open a month or so after it appears. Looking at the time, it should only be 1 or 2 more days, Feng explained. Yin Chujiu finally understood why the people of the Spirit Radiance sect were rushing on their way like their butts were on fire. It turned out that they wanted to arrive before the ancient sword tomb officially opened. Yin Chujiu looked around. Other than the people from the 4 great sects, there were also many cultivators from other forces. Yin Chujiu felt a cold gaze staring at her. When she turned around, she saw Su Yanran staring at her coldly. Su Yanran saw Yin Chujiu looking at her and sneered at Yin Chujiu. Yin Chujiu realized that she could not see through Su Yanran's cultivation level and was shocked. She asked Beiming beside her, Prince Charming, what level is Su Yanran's cultivation on now? 2nd level of the Spirit Emperor realm. How did her cultivation progress so quickly? Beiming asked with some doubt. Yin Chujiu suddenly felt a sense of urgency. She was originally feeling proud and felt that her cultivation speed was very fast. She did not expect that there was someone better than her. Su Yanran's cultivation speed was even faster than hers. Could it be that she also had a heavenly root spirit, or that she had encountered some kind of opportunity? A thought flashed through Yin Chujiu's mind. Unfortunately, before she could grasp it, it flashed through her mind. When she thought about it again, she could not recall anything. The ancient sword tomb is open. The ancient sword tomb is open. Everyone hurry, let's go in. If you go in too late, you won't be able to get the good stuff. This voice was like a bucket of cold water being poured into a hot pot of oil. Everyone was instantly in an uproar. Beiming grabbed Yin Chujiu's hand. Little Jiu, follow me to avoid any accidents. Yin Chujiu's little hand was held by Beiming. This fellow's heart was filled with sweetness. Prince Charming, don't worry. If you don't leave, I won't abandon you. Shui Wuji's teeth were about to fall out. He originally thought that he had a chance, but now that he saw that, his heart instantly turned cold. Little sister Jiu seemed to really like Beiming. Did he still have a chance? Yin Chujiu and the others were not in a hurry. After everyone had entered, they walked in calmly. After entering the enchantment, Yin Chujiu was shocked by the scene in front of her. Yin Chujiu finally understood why this place was called the Ancient Sword Tomb. The ground was filled with the remains of ancient spirit weapons. Some people were so greedy that they did not even let go of the remains. As soon as they took it in their hands, they did not expect that the remains would turn into ashes and disappear into nothingness. Only the spirit weapons that produce the weapon spirit will always exist. These remains have no weapon spirit. Once touched by people, they will turn into ashes. Feng happened to be nearby and saw that Yin Chujiu was a little confused, so he explained to her. Senior brother Feng, how do we find a spirit tool that has a weapon spirit? Yin Chujiu asked curiously. Chapter 752. Why can't I find anything? There's no good way. We can only rely on luck. Can't you see that some people are already searching? It's just that some of them think that the entrance has already been searched by their predecessors, so they continue moving forward. Feng said with some excitement. Entering the area was like entering a treasure house. However, how much they could find and how good the quality was would depend on their own luck. Yin Chujia's small face also revealed an eager expression. Interesting. She loved this kind of treasure hunting the most. Not only did she not have to spend money, but she could also find treasure. Was that not great? She squatted on the ground, took out the rolling pin and made it 100 feet long. Then she began to spin it on the ground. A large area was rummaged through just like that. The remains that were touched by the rolling pin were all turned into ashes. If there was a weapon with a weapon spirit, then there would naturally be some left. Everyone was absolutely speechless. Fuck. This is how you're gonna play. Yin Chujiu, you are too shameless. However, Yin Chujiu's actions reminded them of that fact, so everyone took out longer items and began to rummage through the remains like Yin Chujiu. Although it sounded quite exciting, it was not as easy as everyone thought. After half a day, not one person found a spiritual weapon. Yin Chujiu had also fallen from her initial excitement to indifference. She shortened the rolling stick to about 4 feet long, and used the rolling stick to rummage through the area casually. Beiming and Wuxia also followed Yin Chujiu, as if they were not interested in these spiritual weapons. Therefore Yin Chujiu, the 2 boys and Feng and Shadow Agent Hua were the only 5 people who stood nonchalantly. Everyone else wanted to lie on the ground and search, but these 5 people seemed to be taking a stroll in their own backyard. Finally, someone shouted excitedly, "High-grade spirit weapon. I found a high-grade spirit weapon. Ha ha ha." Everyone's gaze turned to the person who shouted. They saw that the person was holding a sword in his hand. The sword was shining brightly, and it was obvious that it was a high-grade treasure. If they were outside, the person who obtained the treasure would definitely follow the principle of not revealing their wealth and secretly hide the treasure. However, in this ancient sword tomb, if the person who obtained the spirit weapon did not shout it out, he would feel a kind of melancholy in his heart that he could not get rid of. Perhaps this was the resentment of the original owner of the spiritual weapon, so every time someone obtained a spiritual weapon, he or she could not help but loudly shout it out. Some eyes revealed a look of greed, but the person who shouted out was from the Skyblade sect. There were quite a number of people from the Skyblade sect, so after thinking about it, those people gave up the idea of killing someone just to snatch the treasure. In the next few days, there would occasionally be people who found high-grade spiritual weapons. After some itinerant cultivators found the spiritual weapons, although they tried their best to hide it, they would still shout it out in the end. This would then attract the covetous eyes of those with ulterior motives, and inevitably lead to a fight. At that moment, Yin Chujiu deeply understood the meaning of leaning against a big tree to enjoy the shade. Although those people from the 4 great sects were envious, they did not dare to fight for the treasures. After those rogue cultivators and people from small factions obtained the treasures, it would cause a chaotic battle. Of course, Yin Chujiu felt that even if she was not from the Spirit Radiance sect, with these 4 malefactors by her side, no one would dare to snatch her things. However, why could she not find a single spirit weapon? Damn it! Yin Chujiu personally saw Su Yanran pick up at least 10 high-grade spirit weapons, as if she had opened a cheat. Could it be that this Su Yanran was the Heaven's illegitimate daughter? She was actually so lucky. Was that not just infuriating? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.